week absolutely free. 6 months and get 2 weeks absolutely free. 1 year and get 3 weeks absolutely free. To sign up, visit epaper.nationmedia.com or email subscription@ke.nationmedia.com. Offer valid till 28th February 2021.
With temperatures at about triple digits, what is the best site for a swimming pool? We've got engineer Shama to tell us more on this.
But the most important thing is that the structure is a water-retaining structure.
Yes.
And it has to be waterproof.
And a swimming pool expert to tell us about the installation and maintenance of swimming pools.
When you're considering or when you want to build a pool, it's good that you approach a professional. You go through the items that you would require.
Catch the show this Sunday at 5:30 p.m. only on NTV.
Beat sensitivity pain fast with Sensodyne Rapid Action for clinically proven relief in 60 seconds.
New Tuzo Yogurt Cup. Size yako, bei yako.
I trust Dettol to clean, protect, and keep you refreshed every day. I still can't believe how quickly you've grown. Dettol, tested effective against COVID-19.
Lives. New Tuzo Yogurt Cup. Size yako, bei yako.
Do more to protect yourself and family from viruses that remain on the clothes. Separate laundry that has been exposed and do not shake to minimize the possibility of dispersing the virus through the air. Soaking your laundry in water and hand washing powder does more to kill germs than just a normal wash. After washing, dry your clothes in direct sunlight.
They say we do the expected. We say we're more than you expect. Sunlight, more than you expect.
This is NTV.
Well, a very good afternoon to you. It's exactly 1 p.m. and you're watching NTV at 1. My name is Zainab Ismail. We have all the stories making headlines across the country and beyond. But we begin here in we actually begin in Kiambu, where President Uhuru Kenyatta is meeting youth leaders and Kikuyu elders at the Sagana State Lodge today on the third day of his visit at the Mount Kenya region. And the president, who's drumming up support for the BBI report in the region, has continued to stamp his authority in Mount Kenya as the regional political kingpin. Our reporter Melita Oletenges is still on his trail and is now joining us live. Melita, has the president been saying, what has the president really been saying, and what is his itinerary like?
Well, Zainab, the president has been dwelling mainly about the pertinent issues affecting the Mount Kenya region. Remember, starting 2 days ago, he met leaders from the region, members of county assemblies and members of parliament here, just talking to them, of course, drumming support for the BBI report. But also of importance is that the president has continued to take a swipe at those who are accusing him of being a lame duck president, saying that he is still on course and he is still on course to fulfill his development agenda for the country and for this region. But today, Zainab, the president is meeting youth and lead elders rather from the Gema communities, 10 counties making up the Gema communities here at the Sagana State Lodge, and the meeting is yet to start, but the president has already made his way here. We've seen the youth streaming into the State Lodge compound, hundreds of them, elders also in hundreds, just to hear what the president has to say today. But yesterday the president hinted at what he said the youth are being used in bad light to cause chaos and violence in Mount Kenya region, saying that his deputy president William Ruto is actually trying to gain access to his backyard with empty promises for the youth and the people in general. So he was warning the youth against being used or being incited to cause violence. So we expect that even as the president meets the youth and elders today, of course, it's expected that he will be making some of these sentiments and, of course, trying to direct the youth to the way that he, as the kingpin of this region, wants the youth to act. So aside from that, Zainab, of course, there has been the issue of succession politics, and the president said that when that time comes, he will have a seat at the table on which direction the Gema community and the Mount Kenya region at large will take. But he said, as for now, he is focused on fulfilling his agenda for the people of this region. So Zainab, today we are actually just waiting to see what the president will say. But remember, it has been 3 days of private meetings, no media journalists allowed inside the compound. So we have been just putting our ears and eyes on the ground just to get some of the sentiments that come out of the meeting. But of course, today we will also try and speak to some of the youth elders just to get what the president has had to say about the pertinent issues that affect this region. Back to you, Zainab.
I thank you. Melita Oletenges is on that beat. We'll be probably getting more details from him later on in our subsequent bulletins. Meanwhile, Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi is calling for tolerance as political temperatures heat up. Mudavadi has been speaking at the House of Grace Church in Nairobi, where he says the current trend was reminiscent of the run-up to the 2007 disputed poll. NTV's senior political affairs reporter Kennedy Mureithi attended the church service and will be giving us more details. Mureithi, good afternoon. Good to see you. Has Mudavadi spoken? What are some of the issues that are coming out of this meeting?
It's a Sunday afternoon and we've just come out of church at the House of Grace, where Musalia Mudavadi, the ANC party leader, has been one of the congregants, where him and Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja were able to attend, and they've been able to also speak on a matter of things, including the Building Bridges initiative, where they have rallied people to come out and actually support the document. One of the notable things that Musalia Mudavadi has spoken about is the question of us being able to dispense with the question on the table, that is the Building Bridges initiative, as soon as possible, so that Kenyans will be able to move to other things. One of the things that he has actually spoken about, Zainab, is the question of recession, where NTV has been able to quite cover this matter on a lengthy matter. And he says that it is time that we were able to move ahead, not be in a political mood all along, do away with the Building Bridges initiative by way of voting on it. Then we could go back to rebuilding the country. And right now, he joins me live on this question. And you've been very categorical on the recession and us being able to dispense with the Building Bridges initiative. And on the question of recession, why do you think as a country we are at a very bad place?
Well, we are at a very bad place, Mureithi, because one, the global situation has been devastated by COVID. That is one issue we cannot run away from. Yes. And we are equally affected. But then also we were seeing that on the local front, we were beginning to get pressures of less production and more consumption. We have been seeing a situation where our public debt was on the rise. So, to me, without going into the details, I think the message we need to send out now is that in order to get out of the economic crisis, we must move away from toxic politics. That is the simple message. If you can have the unity of purpose, move away from toxic politics, politics that generate too much tension, ethnicity, because with bad politics, the economy can only get worse.
Now then there's the question that you've been very categorical even with regards to bringing up on the church and also on the press conference, and this is about some bad leaders who've made bad decisions for this country. Would you want to probably expound on that?
You know, it's not just about bad leaders. It's even the voter. We are all complicit. Okay? This is a situation where we must get it's a civic education process. We know where the shoe pinches. My call to Kenyans is simply this: interrogate and then vote. Do not vote and then interrogate. This is the mistake we have been making. Therefore, if there are leaders who have responsibility and they are failing us, even the voter has got to reflect on how he or she will vote next time.
Thank you very much. Zainab, I know we would want to talk so much about some of the questions that are emerging, but right now we would really like to give him an opportunity just to go on. But we'll be preparing a better and lengthier story for our subsequent bulletins. But right now, he's been able to speak on that question on recession and also on politics, and we'll be probably prodding him more to know.
All right, Kennedy Murithi there, senior political affairs reporter, speaking to NC party leader Musalia Mudavadi. Now, I will not talk about 2022 until we pass the BBI. This is according to ODM leader Raila Odinga, who has once again condemned a section of politicians whom he accused of prematurely putting the country into a campaign mood. The opposition leader, who was fielding questions from journalists in Kisumu, declined to divulge if he will contest for the presidency come 2022, saying that he will give his stand on the matter at the appropriate time.
We agreed with my brother Uhuru Kenyatta that we will not talk about 2022. We've been telling people to desist from dragging us into the campaign mood of 2022 before we pass the BBI. Right now, our preoccupation is BBI. That is what we want to pass. After that, then Kenyans, any Kenyan who want to run for the presidency will run for the presidency. So I'm not talking about whether I'm going to be a candidate or whether I'm not going to be a candidate. I will answer that question at the appropriate time.
Now, the media are being called upon to exercise restraint in covering political statements that may be characterized as divisive. This is according to the Kenya Films Classification Board CEO Ezekiel Mutua, who wants news outlets to censure leaders who spew hateful rhetoric as the country heads into the political season.
We are in campaign mood, and you have seen the temperatures are rising. It is worse in Nairobi. You've seen what happened in Bama, in Githurai. And I want to make an appeal. Let us remember what happened in 2007. We are already having a national pandemic, a global pandemic called COVID. If we continue this way, by 2022, we are going to ban the country. Let every candidate sell their ideology, their policies, and their manifesto. And don't insult another candidate.
Well, away from that, with spurs on unrest in schools across the country, leaders are calling upon the government to set up a task force to unravel the root cause. This comes as at least 20 schools are counting losses due to destruction of property. Helen Aura has more.
They joined hands in efforts to put out the flames. Flames which have caused havoc twice at Kiture Boys Secondary School in Baringo County. This second incident is reported to have broke out in the dormitories at night, destroying property of unknown value, forcing the school to shut down indefinitely. Now, leaders here want an inquiry.
Inachomwa ama ni ajali? Maana mashule kama hapa Baringo, Timbarua Secondary School ilikuwa ya kwanza. Ikafuatiwa na shule ya Kituro.
There have been calls for the reintroduction of corporal punishment, which the Kenya National Union of Teachers says it will oppose. Opinion is still divided on the proposal.
Kiboko ndio inasaidia watoto. Ama nyinyi mnasema nini? Wacha kiboko iwako kwa mashule. Leo tunataka kuomba sana serikali kuu wapatie kibali, wapatie machiefs, askari na wacha kiboko iwako katika ofisi ya chief. Ningeuliza kwamba tupate strategy nzuri ya kuhakikisha kwamba watoto wetu wamepata nidhamu ya kutosha, walimu akishirikiana pamoja na wazazi. Maana mwalimu bila mzazi hataweza kuweka sambamba mambo ya nidhamu kwa mtoto.
So far, Koilel High School in Nakuru County, Kimulot Secondary School in Bomet County, Chesamisi Boys in Bungoma, King David Kiamama Secondary School and St. Luke's Kimilili Boys in Bungoma have been closed indefinitely after students went on a rampage. Helen Aura, NTV.
Meanwhile, a GSU officer who was killed in Kapedo on the 17th of this month has been laid to rest at his home in Achit in Busia County. Officer Tebakol Emadao was gunned down by suspected bandits. His family eulogized him as a good man who loved his job and service to his country. His colleagues in the service were also present at his burial, led by Deputy Inspector Edward Mbugwa, who promised a job to one of the deceased children. Meanwhile, professionals from the Pokot community are calling for a proper audit into the government's ongoing operation in the region.
Ni either akupe ama kuambie ni baadaye na tulikuwa tunamuelewa.
In the wake of the tensions, death and destruction in Kapedo, professionals from the Pokot are claiming that crimes against humanity have been committed against individuals from one community. They will be seeking legal redress, they say.
We have established that crimes against humanity have been committed to the people of Tiati.
The Coalition of Civil Societies in West Pokot County says it will sue 4 top government security leaders, accusing them of atrocities against humanity in the restive region.
We are asking for immediate resignation of Dr. Fred Matiangi and his team because of mismanaging and grossly violating the rights of the people of Tiati.
The complainants also seek to put to task the Rift Valley Regional Commissioner George Natembea, Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutiambai, and Douglas Kanjo, the General Service Unit Commandant, over how the security situation in the area is being conducted. Access to the region has been blocked, even to journalists.
We are also asking President Uhuru Kenyatta to transfer Mr. Natembea, who is the provincial commissioner.
10 people, including security officers, are reported to have been killed in Kapedo. The professionals demand that the government halt the operation forthwith. The humanitarian crisis in the region is becoming a major concern, with claims of schools, hospitals and other key amenities having been closed. The professionals want the government to allow peace committees and elders to initiate a process that will resolve the issues at hand. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
All right, and on that note, let's take a quick break. We'll be back. Stay with us.
Cabling tips. Use cables from a reputable manufacturer made from 99.99% pure copper and the best insulation. Use a certified installer. Scratch to verify and authenticate your cables. We manufacture an extensive range of power cables for applications in domestic and industrial lives.
Breaking news from Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
My name is Professor Victoria Wambui-Ngumi. I am the Vice Chancellor of Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. When it comes to Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology programs, starting from undergraduate to postgraduate, when we are developing the programs, we always involve the stakeholder so that we know the marketability of our programs.
Maji mdosi wangu ametupa simu yangu ndani ya maji.
Mdosi wako kwa sawa. Venye Nkirota ameniambia ajui na akimpigia simu ashiki. Hey, guy, what
For the women who deserve more, Moped is now in Kenya and more than 40 countries. With its nylon-free surface, new Moped has unique softness and up to 100% protection. Your skin will love it.
New Tuzo Yogurt Cup. Size yako, bei yako.
Thank you for staying with us. The Belinda and Melinda Gates Foundation has injected 400 million shillings into efforts towards women empowerment in Kenya. This will be channeled through a grant to Kenyatta University's Women's Economic Empowerment Hub, popularly known as WE Hub. The primary outcomes envisaged to be achieved through this funding is the application of the evidence-based policy formulation on addressing gender-related inequalities in the country.
The establishment of the hub has been financed through a generous research grant to Kenyatta University from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to implement a 5-year research project on what works to improve women's economic power in Kenya.
Regarding gender equality and women empowerment, of course, gender does not mean women. We just try to work around to promote how women and men can have equal opportunities economically, socially, culturally, and politically.
Kenyan Scouts have begun a program in collaboration with the Ministry of ICT to promote safe use of the internet through platforms like Web Ranger program. Speaking after being invested as a Scout, Cabinet Secretary for Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs, Joe Musheru, urged the Scouts to be on the front line to ensure that the internet is safe for all. The collaboration between the Ministry and the Kenya Scouts Association will enable KSA and the Ministry to synchronize the activities with a view of empowering its members by educating them on how to use the internet to enhance themselves.
I accept this responsibility to be able to work with you to transform and make this country really a great place for us.
Well, the gap between skilled filmmakers and inspired, talented youth continues to be bridged as a group of 80 youth from different villages in Thika, Kiambu County graduated from a 5-day training course that saw them gain filmmaking skills. This is courtesy of the Film Commission.
Give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. Teach a man how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. One could say that this is exactly what has happened for this group of talented youth as the Kenya Film Commission concluded a 5-day production training course that would see the youth go home with hands-on knowledge on how to utilize production equipment, write film scripts, and also keep them away from trouble.
A lot of youths out there wenye wako huko nje wenye wamejinvolve na hizi madawa za kulevya wakipata activities kama hii acting, like I personally acting inaletanga unakuwa yani time yako unaitumia most probably kwa hizo kupractice. So ukiwa kwa hizi practices you will not have time to go there and use drugs. So inasaidia sana sisi kama youths.
Led by Patricia Wanjiku from Muthaiga village, the youngsters from Thika, Kiambu County mostly act locally, and with the new skills, are now looking to open their own production companies.
Tunapanga kufanya our own film, of which tushaanza sisi kama trainers wenye tulikuwa huku ACK. Tumefanya the first film yenye inajiita Bedsitters, na tuna hope na tunaomba Mungu that tutaendelea more and more.
Thika MP Patrick Wainaina, who had partnered with the commission to facilitate the training, revealed plans to establish a modern semi-commercial studio in his constituency, which he said would help identify talent, nurture youth in the film industry, and thereby helping them produce their works at very subsidized rates.
This is one way of creating jobs. Going forward, we want to do a good modern studio in Thika. We want these young men and women to be able to produce and direct their movies in Thika, totally in Thika. And the idea is to make our movies as low cost as possible, so that anybody who has got good ideas can come and be able to produce a movie.
The MP is urging legislators, however, to revisit the directive by the Communications Authority of Kenya, which had previously instructed television broadcasters in the country to increase local content broadcasting to 60%, which he says is yet to be met.
You barely get more than 30% of the local content. We want to be able to have 60 to 70% of the local content in our TVs.
Anita Konge, NTV.
Well, the Kenya Wildlife Service is investigating the deaths of 3 elephants believed to have been poisoned by angry locals in the latest incident of human-wildlife conflict in Taita Taveta County. The 3 jumbos died on diverse dates in Sagala area, and the fact that their tusks were untouched has led the KWS to believe that their deaths had nothing to do with poaching. This case follows a series of complaints of damage caused by the elephants. Bill Otieno reports.
This is the current situation in Kajire area. KWS officers are on patrol both on land and air. The officers are on hunt for the elephant killers. 3 elephants were killed on diverse dates in this area. Human-wildlife conflict is a thorny issue in this area despite efforts by KWS to control wildlife. In 2019, the area MCA Godwin Kilele was arrested and charged at Voi Law Courts for inciting residents to kill elephants for destroying their crops. In December 2020, the residents also planned a peaceful demonstration which eventually was stopped by the police.
Wakija wanaingia wanatoka mpaka saa 12:30 wanaingia na kutoka. Hata wachungaji saa 4 tunapigiwa simu tukiwa machungani, jichungeni, piteni upande na upande. In a press release, Kenya Wildlife Service says it believes the killings of the 3 jumbos were not as a result of poaching, since their tusks were intact. Initial investigation shows the animals were poisoned. Sagala area is a human-wildlife conflict hotspot, and the locals have been warned against taking matters into their own hands. Bilotino, NTV, Taita Taveta.
Well, regionally, Africa is collecting coronavirus vaccines in the global race to inoculate entire populations. However, leaders have accused rich countries of hoarding vaccines at the cost of poorer nations.
A brief disruption by protesters camping outside the Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles saw operations at the vaccination distribution center stall for a few hours. The protesters called for the end of lockdowns and promoted anti-conspiracy theories. The incident represents just the latest challenge to the vaccine rollout in the US, which has the highest number of cases and deaths in the world from COVID-19. A tally kept by Johns Hopkins University shows that more than 26 million people have been infected and 439,000 have died in the country since the start of the pandemic as of Saturday. Meanwhile, at the Pentagon, America's military unit says it is putting on hold a plan to administer COVID vaccines to terror detainees at Guantanamo, following an outcry as the United States struggles to deliver jabs to frontline workers and vulnerable elderly Americans. In Germany, the government has threatened legal action against laboratories failing to deliver coronavirus vaccines to the European Union on schedule amid tensions over delays to deliveries from AstraZeneca. There has been growing tension in recent weeks between European leaders and the British-Swedish pharmaceutical giant AstraZeneca, which has fallen behind on promises to deliver its COVID-19 vaccine. The company says it could now only deliver a quarter of the doses originally promised to the bloc for the first quarter of the year because of problems at one of its European factories. And in Algeria, the country has launched its coronavirus vaccination campaign, starting in the northern city of Blida, the epicenter of the country's COVID-19 outbreak in March 2020. Algeria says it has received a first shipment of the Russian Sputnik V vaccine on Friday. The country has since recorded 2,888 deaths from COVID-19, as well as over 107,000 infections, including the president, who was hospitalized in Germany for 2 months from late October after contracting the disease. Elsewhere, Moroccan police have been receiving their COVID-19 vaccination jabs in Casablanca. The North African kingdom launched its nationwide inoculation campaign on Thursday this week. The country of 35 million people has registered nearly 500,000 cases of the COVID-19 illness and 8,224 deaths so far.
All right, and some sporting action now. With less than a month to the final round of the FIBA AfroBasket qualifiers, the Kenya men's national basketball team is keen on bringing out the big guns to get them to qualification. Aside from the team welcoming international-based players such as Tom Wamukota and Ronnie Gunda, who joined the camp at the Nyayo National Stadium this week, the Morans has also welcomed Australian coach Liz Mills to beef up the technical bench ahead of the second window of AfroBasket qualifiers set for Cameroon in February. Liz was at the stadium early this morning for their first training session. Professional boxers have requested the Sports Ministry under Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohammed to allow them to return to training as long as they follow all the requirements of the Ministry of Health to avoid the spread of coronavirus. According to coach Julius Odhiambo, professional boxers have been largely inconvenienced in different aspects since sports was cancelled in March last year due to the pandemic.
Hii time ya corona watu wameumia sana. Boxers wameumia, boxers are professional yani. Kuna pesa ile ilipwa na ministry, ilipwa mwezi 2 alafu ikaisha hivyo. Sasa mpaka sasa hii watu wa train, boxers wanapata fight waezi enda. Hapa Kenya imefunga waezi cheza fight na hiyo ndio kazi wanafanya.
Kijumla tumeathirika kwa kiasi gani?
Maboxer wameathirika sana hata sio kidogo sababu kuna wale pia walikuwa wanafanya biashara Kikomba. Vitu zao ziliungua, hakuna pesa. Sasa wanahangaika. Nimekuambia maboxer waine wamehamishwa kwa nyumba, vitu zao nimeweka hapa kwetu. Nimeweka vitu zao, sasa sijui vile wanaishi. Ambao tungeomba ministry wa release tu, watu warudi mazoezi, boxing pia ichezwe kama football tu. Nafikiri watapata pesa yao, wataomba mtu yote.
Na mchezo wa ndondi hapa Kenya kijumla tu katika hii professional kabisa, unaionaje?
Imepik ni mzuri, sababu mavijana wanacheza hapa, kuna sponsorship kidogo inapatikana, tunawatafutia fight wanaenda wanacheza Ulaya, unaona? Kama last time kuna msichana anaitwa Consolata Mshange alikuwa anatosha cheza Germany. Angeenda kucheza saba train. Kama huyu Morris Okola alienda tu kucheza game lakini mazoezi yako nayo mzuri sababu gym zimefungwa. Unaona sasa ni shida. Hata fight ikipatikana hawezi enda.
Agnes Mumboa and Nelson Mandela are the winners of the Lower Eastern Inter-County Cross-Country Championships held at the Machakos People Park. Lasia from Makweni Camp won the 10-kilometer senior race in a time of 27 minutes and 1.8 seconds. Bernard Musau came in second as Alex Mutiso was third. Mumboa from Machakos Camp won the women's 120 kilometers race in a time of 31 minutes and 43.5 seconds. Cecilia Wayua finished second while Lucy Muli was third. And FC Leopards got their fourth win of the season yesterday after downing Posta Rangers 2-1 in the ongoing FKF Premier League at Kasarani Stadium. Ingwe's current top scorer Elvis Rupia put Ingwe in the lead in the 29th minute, adding up to his goal score to 10 before Benevenu Shaka netted Leopards' second goal in the 34th minute. Posta Rangers' lone goal was scored by Calvin Odongo in the 83rd minute.
Mpira moja kwa moja na kufanya kwamba hilo ndio bao la pili.
Meanwhile, the English Premier League action will continue this afternoon with Chelsea taking on Burnley at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea's coach Thomas Tuchel is monitoring the fitness of N'Golo Kante, who has returned to training following 4 weeks out with a hamstring injury. Meanwhile, Burnley pair Charlie Taylor and Ashley Burns have also returned to training and may be featured in today's match. In other fixtures, Leicester City will play Leeds United at the King Power Stadium. West Ham United will host defending champions Liverpool at London Stadium as Brighton welcome Tottenham Hotspurs at the Amex Stadium. Last night, Aston Villa beat Southampton 1-0 at the St Mary's Stadium, while Arsenal played a barren draw against Manchester United at Emirates Stadium.
Other leg, left side. Swings, kick it up. Hurdles are fairly low for you, but get a little bit on that chair shift. Go on,
From sports, Nancy Gathungu assumed the office of the Auditor General on July 17, 2020, at a time when the country had not had a substantive occupant in the office for 11 months, from a backlog of delayed audit reports to back and forth of eligible and ineligible pending bills, and last but not least, the contentious audit of the use of COVID-19 relief funds. The last 6 months have placed Gathungu on the spotlight. Tonight, in her first televised interview since assuming office, Gathungu speaks to Julian Amboko on a raft of issues, including the audit of public debt and whether IFMIS is designed to fail. Take a look.
There are weaknesses in internal controls. Internal auditors are not being used as they should.
We've had even a special audit being commissioned regarding IFMIS and the vulnerability to leakages when it comes to the resource envelope.
Sometimes we blame the IT systems when it's not the IT systems at fault. Something seems to have happened with the COVID-19, and this is where we need to interrogate ourselves, not just KEMSA but as a country.
Many Kenyans out here are curious to know, do we actually lose 2 billion shillings a day?
All right, well, you certainly do not want to miss that interview. It will be airing tonight at 9 p.m. You want to stay with us for that. That's all we had lined up for you this hour. Many thanks for watching. Good afternoon. My name is Zainab Ismail.
This is NTV.
Presenting the new Harpic bathroom cleaner. Compared to ordinary detergents, its thick formulation gives you superior cleaning and kills 99.9% of germs and viruses all around the bathroom. Blue
for the toilet
and red
for the bathroom.
New Tuzo Yogurt Cup. Size yako, bei yako.
Juzi tu nilishikwa na polisi nikiwa nimebeba abiria wawili na pikipiki moja. Akaniuliza, kijana, mbona unabeba abiria wawili na pikipiki moja? Pikipiki inafaa ibebe abiria mmoja. Nikamwambia, afande, nimebeba tu abiria mmoja. Akaniuliza, kijana, na huyo mwingine? Nikamwambia, afande, huyo mwingine ni conductor.
It's Valentine's, and as is custom, love is blossoming at the heart of GMC. GMC Place Kitengela, be your choice to bloom in love. Call us today on 0701 560 560.
Geisha coconut milk and honey, enriched with coconut milk for soft and moisturized skin.
Be strong and last long.
Our guest left her accounting job to venture into a business she was only passionate about.
So in our church, we don't do makeup, and here I want to do makeup because back then there was like no one was doing makeup. Actually, you couldn't do makeup. So I knew like if I don't do it now, I'll never do it.
With no mentor, no capital, and no skill, career went beyond. Yani alikiuka to make a name and livelihood for herself.
Kidogo, yeah, I'm started to have my own clients. Though I did not have a makeup kit, so I used to borrow.
Guys, so Abu, how do you go to a client without a makeup kit? Having already made major strides in business, bado anaendelea kukiuka, which means going beyond and being extraordinary. I heard somewhere it's not advised to sleep with makeup on.
That's the worst thing you can do to your face.
Tuzidi na Hustle in association with Safaricom.
NTV, turning on your